Today I fucked up by cuddling with my teacher's daughter. This is a last summer I fucked up, but I will tell it like it happened yesterday. Summer I, M, 16th, met a girl, F 16, let's call her Macy. We were friends by the first day, and still are. We live in a summer city, nearby Italy's capital city, where only 10/15% of people live there the whole year, and everybody else stays only during summer. We are both very touchy-feely people, so eventually infamously only say are just friends. Hugs and kisses on the cheeks are common greeting. She often sits in my lap, lies down and sleeps on me. We met during this summer and I never asked for her surname, since, at least where I live, it is not normal. Yesterday a huge part of our group came back to the capital city and the others were at the birthday party of a guy we didn't know. So only 5 people remained, and we chose to do a relaxed night, and we managed to obtain the permission to do a film night at Macy's house. At some point around 3 AM the others went home, so only I and Macy remained at her house. We were on the sofa, I was lying down there, and she was lying down on me and I was playing with her hair, and I can 100% tell we looked like a couple. 1 hour later her father went downstairs, probably just to pee or have a glass of water, and saw us. Normally it wouldn't have been a problem, but that wasn't very normal. Macy paused the film and introduced us to each other, while still lying down on me. He looked at me, made a hold-up face, and shouted out of my house. I left only taking my valuables, leaving there my hoodie and my backpack. Her father is my Italian teacher, and I have a very bad relationship with him since we had a 2-hour debate on religion, and while he's a very religious person, I'm a firm atheist with a vast knowledge about the Bible. So during that argument I used the Bible and other religious statements against him. Day after, we met and I explained the whole situation. I was embarrassed, she was laughing to death. Too long didn't read, I cuddled with a friend of mine at her house, in the middle of the night, when her father, the Italian teacher that hates me, came downstairs and threw me out. Update to the present times, this year he wasn't my teacher, so I never needed to talk to him again. But I established hey I'm just a friend and I love having launch at your house relationship with Macy's mother. And just to say, 1 we are just friends. 2 we, or at least I, are not planning on doing more. 3 I'm not gay, she's not lesbian. This would make more sense if we knew why he hates you and you hate him. Stole his wife. Wow, that was awkward. At least he didn't hit you or put a hit out on you. Yeah, you should let her know you're just friends. She may not be aware. Y'all are that comfortable with each other but you didn't know her last name. But she's also his teacher's daughter, and I'm assuming he knows the teacher's last name. The whole thing's is confusing. Sorry I am confused as fuck. You say hugging and cuddling between quotes as if that isn't what you were doing, but what you describe is straight up just that. Just friends as well BTW. We lay on top of each other for hours and I fondle her hair but, just friends bro. Today I fucked up by telling my Muslim cashier she looked like porn star Mia Khalifa. This happened a few days ago and I still feel really bad. So I visit a little corner store/drugstore in my town and usually see the same 3 cashiers there. I've been going for a while, 3 or 4 times a week, so I've gotten to know the cashiers a little bit. Chat sometimes, small talk, things about the town, how the store is doing. I have talked to the young women who I will call Hafsa, for a while now. It's not like we're friends, but she knows me and I know her. Anyways, just the other day I was checking out with my candy or whatever and I noticed she was wearing thick, black framed glasses. She always has a hijab on, which is why I know she is a Muslim, along with contemporary clothes for a woman in her 20s. I had never seen the glasses on her before, so they stuck out to me. I wear glasses too, so I usually like to compliment people on their choice or frames. So I said new frames? They look cool. She smiles and said thanks. Then for reasons I will never fully understand, I decided to say they make you look like Mia Khalifa. She looked up at me with funny face and said, who? I realized she probably didn't watch porn and didn't know who that was. If I'm being honest, I've never seen any of Mia Khalifa's videos as I have not watched porn for a very long time. I've just seen her pop up in the news lately and I watched that show Rami on Hulu. But before I could possibly recover and say oh it's nobody, a co-worker starts laughing as blurts out she's this super famous porn star, Hafsa. You don't know her? She's does real hardcore stuff too. Ha ha ha, and those glasses do make you look like her. Ha ha ha. Hafsa looked up at me horrified and I realized what I had said. I was absolutely humiliated and so was she. She put my stuff in a bag, mumbled thanks and I briskly walked away. Her co-worker was still chuckling to herself as I walked out of the store. I probably made her feel like shit and feel bad about her glasses too. Yikes. Still cringe. Too long didn't read. I said a very kind Muslim woman with glasses reminded me of porn star Mia Khalifa in front of her co-workers and humiliated her. But seriously, just a word of advice to Muslim women, Mia Khalifa has probably ruined thick, black glasses and hijab look for all you. Edit 1, spelling. Edit 2, in the immortal words of Ron Burgundy, well, that escalated quickly. Few hundred to 6k plus in like an hour. I just want to say a few things. I am aware that this was a bad thing to do. I am not proud or happy that I said this. I felt guilt and regret over this happening. I don't know why this needs to be said on Today I Fucked Up, but there you go. This was a bad fuck up. Reading the comments have been a trip and certainly a learning experience, but some people seem to be working out their own deep, personal demons down there. People seem to be especially offended by my last statement, but instead of deleting it, I will amend it to more clearly say what I meant. /aware that there exists a very famous woman called Mia Khalifa, whose claim to fame was appearing in pornographic films in a hijab while wearing thick, black glasses. Some men who have seen her videos may be reminded of her when they see you in a similar look. This is not your fault, it is the men's mind that drifts to this dirty place. They are wrong for doing this, but it still might happen. So, I am aware that Muslims and Arabs are different, and that Islam is a religion, not a group of people. I wonder if the cashier went home and googled Mia Khalifa lol, like I just did. Should have just said she is some kind of influencer, which is what she calls herself these days. I'd be more embarrassed to talk about influencers than porn stars. I'm a brown girl with long brown hair and glasses and TBH I don't really look anything like her besides that. I remember putting my hand up BC I had a question in a physics lecture with less than 5 women, very male dominated, and the professor said, yes, Mia Khalifa. I've never turned so red as everyone laughed to themselves and I vowed to never wear a tank top or lower cut shirt in that class. Skull, I actually think she's a pretty cool chick and gorgeous. I wasn't offended by the comparison or anything, it's the fact that I suddenly felt very sexualized that made me uncomfy. Edit, a giant fuck you to all the people who've been messaging me to send them nudes and face pics to verify that I don't look like her. That's completely fucked. Where/when was that? That shit wouldn't have flown at any school I went to, and it's been more than 10 years since I finished undergrad. Yikes. This is super cringe. Apparently the only way up knows how to compliment a woman's looks is to compare her to a porn star, rolling eyes face. If she's a practicing Muslim she's probably really bothered by the perceived objectification. She wears hijab to protect herself from that. This being said, Muslims aren't without a funny bone. Just apologize the next time you see her. Tell her you were just trying to say she looked nice. Try to do that while not staring intently at her. She'll probably laugh and forgive you. If not, find a new corner store. Lol you dummy. Next Today I Fucked Up, I tried to apologize to the cashier that I compared to a porn star but today I fucked up by not telling my boss it was my last day. So, I'm starting my first week of college next week and was working a full-time job for the past 2 weeks for some extra money to pay off my tuition. I really enjoyed the job and had asked to be hired part-time while I still went to school, but they said no. I had re-asked about it earlier in the morning and was contemplating leaving at the end of the day, or at the end of today, which is the last day of the work week for us, and I went to see the boss at the end of the day. Surprise surprise, she wasn't there. So I decided to text them when I got back and was so tired I completely forgot about it. Woke up at about 5 AM, was going to send them a text and figured what's one more hour of sleep. And went back to sleep. Fast forward until a bit ago and it's 9 AM. I had received text messages and calls from my boss and hiring agency. I texted the boss and they responded with it would have been nice to know yesterday so we could have hired a replacement. And then said nope, we have it covered when I offered to come in. Needless to say, I feel terrible. Too long didn't read, wasn't hired part-time at my job before college started and forgot to let them know it was my last day. Edit, hot damn. I didn't expect this to blow up. Thanks for the replies everybody. Hopefully this is a lesson learned from me to you all. Let them know ahead of time before leaving. I worked at a gas station when I was younger. I gave a 3-week notice to be nice when I was getting ready to move on to my first real job so they would have plenty of time to hire and train a replacement. About 3 days into my 3 weeks my boss came in and said I could finish out the rest of the week but they wouldn't need me after that. I was really counting on those paychecks to get me through until my next job started. Right after saying all of this he told me he was heading out for the day. So it was just me and my one co-worker. Right after he left I apologized to my co-worker, locked my till, and left never to return. I had some angry voicemails from the owner over the next couple days but I didn't let it bother me any more than he let my need to have money to survive on bother him. I work at 3 AM and stop by the only 24 hours gas station down the street from me most mornings to grab a snack and coffee or something to get my day going. Dude that worked the graveyard was a nice person and we'd chat about life sometimes for a while. One day I get to the store and the door is locked but I saw him inside. Knocked on the door and he popped over and opened up. Asked him if everything was okay. He told me he was quitting and thought I wasn't going to roll through this morning. I was like 5 to 10 late, but he was staying waiting for me to get my morning goodies. Gave him a high five, bought my shit, and we both walked out together. I'm really confused by this. So you worked somewhere for 2 weeks full time. Did you tell them going into it that you would only be able to work full time for 2 weeks? Or did you wait until your last day and send a text the next morning? This story doesn't make much sense. Edit, okay, I understand this better now. Boss knew op would be temporary but didn't know how long. It was up to op or hiring agency to let boss know ahead of time when his last day would be. Op neglected to let boss know, and even admitted to falling asleep before sending the text. So boss found out the next day when op was a no call no show. Honestly, boss's reaction seems reasonable. Imagine showing up for the first day of your full-time job and putting in your 2 weeks notice. Sounds weird but that's basically op's plan Lamau. If they wanted to keep you, they'd have put effort into it. They knew you were starting school, so it's not like this was entirely out of left field. You offered to come in, and they declined. While it could have been done more gracefully, this really doesn't count as a fuck up. Let it go and turn your attention to your new adventures. See how easily they got it covered? That's how easy we are to replace. It doesn't matter whether you forgot to tell them, if you were ill or God forbid, you died. Either way we are disposable and we can all be replaced. Someone once told me to put my hand in a bucket of water. When you take it out, the water immediately replaces you. That's what your job is. My boss had lung cancer and was training me to replace her when she retired, which would have been on her 30th anniversary in about 18 months. She told me to hurry up and finish college because the position required a bachelor's degree, so I finished the last 2 classes for the associates, worked my ass off in an accelerated program and would have had my bachelor's 11 months later in May, all while being a single parent and having an elderly parent to care for, but she got sicker and passed in March. They brought in some gal who didn't know her butt from beans and gave her the job because I hadn't graduated yet. I had already been running the office while my sweet boss was in the hospital, so imagine my surprise when the new gal called me into my old boss's office, told me she was taking over but she wanted me to keep right on doing what I had been doing, running the office and teach her how to do everything while I did it. So I said, if I'm not the right person to do this job, I'm not the right person to train this job, and I walked right over to my desk and got my purse and told my co-workers goodbye and walked right out the door and never looked back. A few months later, I talked to my friend from the office and she said that gal had run that program $30,000 in the red the first year. Not long after that, it went under. Karma's a bitch, baby.